Hi everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks, and the assembly shop is back, and in it is going to be a tier 10 Italian auto-reloading medium tank. It is the Lion. This vehicle will be available inside the assembly shop this Thursday, the 2nd of February at 5 o'clock UK time for the European server, and prime time as well on the NA server. In today's video, I'm going to be letting you know a brief summary of the vehicle and go into great depth about what is the best way to get your hands on this tank if you can afford to do so. So firstly, stay tuned to my channel and feel free to subscribe if you want to, as I will be releasing a full tank review on the Lion tomorrow. But I'm going to give you my 30-second version if you don't have time for that. This is a very good, if not overpowered tank in the hands of somebody who can handle an auto-reloader well. It kind of blurs the line between a Progetto 65 and a Leopard, and its second round damage per minute actually ends up with having higher damage per minute than a Leopard, even if this tank is not using an auto-reloader. I'm personally definitely going to be picking up this one. I'm even thinking, do I want to cripple my free-to-play account to be able to get a second one? We'll see on Thursday. So just what is the assembly shop? The first ever assembly shop was for the Object 780 in June and July of last year, and while the event was meant to last for several weeks, I think the vehicle fully sold out within the first day, at least on the European server, at least with the special styles. And when I say special styles, I mean having a designated number that will be unique to the tank that you purchase, that will be yours forever. However, the number that you get is first come, first served. So if you want to get number one, you will have to be the first person out of tens of thousands, if not 50,000 people who will be logging in on the server trying to get a low numbered vehicle. I personally, for the last assembly shop, was up at 5:45 in the morning in the UK time, and I logged in as quickly as I could, clicked ultra fast, and I still only got in the top 500. And that was at 6 a.m. in the UK. I'm pretty sure that considering that the Lion is going to be released at prime time, it's going to be incredibly tricky to be able to get your hands on one of the low numbers. So the way that the assembly shop works is you have to fill a bar to 100% by spending your resources. And you can spend any kind of resource. You can spend free experience, gold, credits, fragments, or bonds. And using the information that Wargaming have provided for me, for the Lion, I have prepared a blackboard to break it down for all of you. So remember that you're going to have to get 100% of the progress bar, and these are all of the values for 1% progress. 10,000 free experience, 550 gold, 500 bonds, 20 universal fragments, or 31 national fragments, or 1.25 million credits will get you 1% of the progress. Now, you can't use all of the same currency, at least for the blueprints. So as you can see here, the maximum progress you can have for the universal and also for the national fragments is 14% and 22% respectively, which means that if you want to max out each of those currencies, you're going to have to spend 1 million free experience, 55,000 gold, 50,000 bonds, or 125 million credits. And if you want to reduce any of these numbers, then you're going to have to top it up first with universal fragments, which you would need 280 if you wanted to use the max, or 682 national fragments. Now, you don't need to do all of these. It's not as if the vehicle is going to cost you 125 million credits and 50,000 bonds and 55,000 gold and 1 million free experience. No, you can choose what suits you, or if you've got a lot of something on your account, then you could top it up mostly with that and then finish it off with something else. However, not all of these currencies are a good deal. And to make it more obvious for you, I've made notes. So firstly, 1 million free experience is the equivalent of either 40,000 gold if you are converting free experience at a 1 to 25 ratio, or it is 25,000 gold if you are doing it when free experience is on sale and you're converting at a 1 to 40 ratio. Now, keep in mind that 25,000 gold for a tier 10 tank doesn't sound as if it's outrageous, but it's still a lot of money. The current asking price for 25,000 gold is £71.36. That's a lot to pay for any vehicle, but it's not an outrageous sum for a tier 10 tank compared to what Wargaming charge for all of the other vehicles in the game. But keep in mind, this is a reward tank and it's not premium, so it's not going to make you extra credits. Now, what these two numbers mean is that, number one, hopefully you converted a load of free experience or you're whaling it on your account like a lot of players are. But if you haven't, then 55,000 gold is so much more of an asking price than using free experience. But also consider that that free experience, you'd have to grind for it anyway. But really, if you're playing World of Tanks incredibly actively, you're using either the 5x bonus missions or taking part in Top of the Tree, converting off 1 million free experience, while it's still a lot, it can be done in a few months of regular play. That is, of course, if you already have all of the vehicles inside the game. And so, yeah, these assembly shops, they're definitely there for the whales of World of Tanks, or the players who have already done everything and have a lot of free experience with nothing to do. But I want to immediately highlight just how much more 55,000 gold is than just converting free experience, even not at a discount. If you have 1 million free experience or 1 million experience on tanks that you could convert off, it would cost you 40,000 gold. And while you'd have to grind that 1 million experience, you'd save yourself 15,000 gold compared to the raw asking price. And so I would thoroughly recommend, unless you're incredibly rich and you have very little time on your hands, that you don't use gold to get the Lion. Because I worked out that 55,000 gold would cost me £154.81. That's, of course, unless you have a mountain of gold left over from the loot crates, but I can't really work out how much those loot crates cost you. The next currency that you could spend would be bonds, and to be able to do 100% of the progress, you need 50,000 bonds. That is a lot of bonds. That's usually enough to be able to get one of the Clan Wars reward tanks inside one of the auctions. Or, if you go in the bond shop, 50,000 bonds would get you an AMX-50 Foch 155, a KV-5, a 121B, and an M60. That's right, you could get 4 vehicles for the 50,000 bonds instead of just getting 1. And some of those are pretty fun vehicles, including a Tier 8 Premium. So 50,000 bonds for this tank, gosh, it's a real steep asking price. And I very much doubt that people would not want instead to buy 10 different pieces of bond equipment to be able to put on all of their vehicles, rather than spend a currency that there's no other real way to be able to get outside of participating in all of Wargaming's outrageous events. So I do expect that very few players will spend bonds on this tank, apart from the free-to-play players who have no opportunity to be able to get that amount of free experience because they aren't buying gold. Now, spending your fragments is a very good deal if you aren't racing up any of the tech trees. You can spend 280 universal fragments and 682 national fragments from any one of the trees to be able to get yourself a meaty discount off the vehicle, i.e. 36%. So you could reduce any of these values by 36% and get yourself the tank. Now, if you have a huge amount of credits, 125 million is pretty disgusting. And one thing I would definitely not recommend doing is converting gold into credits to be able to purchase this tank. Because to get 125 million credits, that is actually 315,500 gold, which is, almost 6 times worse than just using the gold in the first place. And it really highlights why you should never, ever convert gold into credits unless there's some kind of financial emergency for you in World of Tanks, and you better have a very good paying job. So the ideal world for you to be able to get the Lion is as follows: spend 682 national fragments, 280 universal fragments, and 640,000 gold. Sorry, not gold, free experience. That's still a lot. It's still a lot of free experience. It's enough to be able to get yourself an entire tier 10 tank, or it's enough to be able to get all of the field mods on like 3 different tier 10 vehicles. It is expensive, but for those of you out there who are the very hardcore players, or if you just really like the look of the Lion from my tank review tomorrow, hopefully you've been saving up free experience like I've been suggesting all the way through the year. Because, look, if Wargaming saw just how much currency they could milk from their player base, then they are going to do it again. And at least, unlike something like the Object 283, there is a final price which will guarantee you to be able to get this tank, even though you have to jump through hoops and possibly even book the afternoon or evening off work if you are late working on Thursday. So I want to make a final mention to how Wargaming's prices have increased. Yes, there is inflation in World of Tanks as well. On the right, you see the prices of the Object 780 in 2022, and now you see the new Lion prices of 2023. That's right. The amount of free experience has gone up by 25%, the gold value remains the same, the bond value up by 25%, and the credits value up by 25%. Looks like Wargaming, and also, you know, for each of the fragments, it's literally they've just slapped a 25% on everything apart from the gold, but the gold is one of the worst currencies to spend on this anyway. So yeah, Wargaming clearly saw how quickly the Object 780s sold and with the styles. And so what I think that they've done is basically just put up the prices to be able to A, make more money, but also they will last longer. Now, with regards to the numbers that will be available, there are actually more that's going to be available on the EU server than last time. Previously, I believe, there were 15,000 numbered vehicles and 50,000 total vehicles. But you know what's happened since then? And I hope Wargaming are taking this into account, is that there's a whole host of new Ukrainian players who have joined the European server, as well as also way more people being active in World of Tanks in February than will be during the summer. And so accordingly, this 65,000 feels like it hasn't really gone up all that much, considering that the population is probably about 50% more than it was during the summer. Accordingly, I think that it's going to be quite hard to get your hands on the Lion unless you are literally logged in at 5 o'clock, well, that would be 6 o'clock Central European time, 5 o'clock UK time on the 2nd of February. Otherwise, I don't think you're getting your hands on this tank. On the NA server, I think there will be enough of them available. On the Asia server, Wargaming haven't told us whether it's going to be on the Asia server. But if it is, and you'll probably be able to find on the website, good luck to you. And so there you have it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is what the assembly shop is going to look like and what my ideal recommendations are for all of you out there. So don't be a mug unless you've got millions, if not billions of credits. Don't waste them. Drop as many fragments as you possibly have and then dump the rest in free experience. And don't spend gold. If you can convert anything, even at the worst possible price, it is still going to be way cheaper than spending gold. And you know what? If you're a free-to-play player and you've got tons of bonds and you think the Lion looks like the most fun thing ever, sure, go for it. But please keep in mind that you could get yourself 4 other tanks for the same price. And good bloomin' luck to you, because I think this is going to be one of the hardest ones to ever get, because the numbers are quite low, especially considering the EU player base numbers have increased and that it's being released at prime time. Anyway, ladies and gents, boys and girls, I hope this deep dive was useful for you. If it was, and I've made it easy, then give the video a thumbs up. If you hate it, give it a thumbs down, and let me know what you think about Wargaming ramping up the difficulty, so to say, of the assembly shop. Do you think that there's really been 25% inflation in World of Tanks? And was it justified? And let me know whether you are a huge whale like me who is going to try and get your hands on this vehicle on Thursday. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.